This presentation is about roosts, and it is part of Dinja Waħda. Did you ever stop to ask yourself where birds sleep? Is it in trees? Is it in nests? Maybe in fields? Or maybe even on the surface of the sea? Which one do you think is the right answer? Well, if you're thinking all of them, you're right. Different birds sleep in different places, and today we're going to take a look at one very special place called a roost. A roost is a place where a large number of birds sleep together. Not all birds do this, but the ones who sleep in a roost keep each other warm, because there are usually hundreds sleeping close to each other. We have many roosts in Malta. Most of them are groups of tall trees in our village squares. Hundreds of tiny birds among thousands of leaves is a very good place to hide, because it is very hard for a predator to find you. The roost in the photo is at Birkirkara, in the place called L'Istazione. So which are the birds that sleep in roosts in Malta? Do you recognize this bird? The robin does not like to stay with other robins, so it does not roost with other birds. But there are others. The sparrow, for example, our most common bird, likes to roost in large numbers. Then there is the starling, a bird that visits us in winter. And the white wagtail. You see white wagtails walking on the ground, sometimes in school grounds. They too like to stay in large numbers to sleep. Okay. So imagine there is a village square with trees. There are buildings all around it. How do the birds find it? During the day, of course, birds are looking at the ground or wherever their food is. But when it's time to sleep, birds that stay in groups start flying off and following each other. The older birds remember where the roost they used last year is, and they fly off towards these trees. The younger birds then follow them, and that's how they find the roost. So, what happens if trees in a roost are cut down? You know this happens. Sometimes we cut down trees that are important roosts for birds, and we don't even think about the poor sparrows, wagtails and starlings who will be flying there in the evening. These poor birds get a shock when they arrive at the roost and they find nowhere to stay. So suddenly they have to find a new place to sleep, just when they are tired and cold and need to rest. And the worst time to cut trees is in winter. Do you know why? Because birds roost during autumn and winter. In spring and summer, they are making nests, and they don't make the nest in a roost. Spring and summer are good times to have nests because there are a lot of insects to feed your chicks. And of course, because the weather is easy. During nesting time, birds stay at the nest with the young chicks. The white wagtail and the starling don't even stay here. They leave Malta, they migrate to the north, and they have their nests in other countries. So roosts are important places for birds to sleep in winter. The sparrow is the one that stays with us all year round. In winter, sparrows gather in hundreds to sleep together in roosts. But when the days get longer and warmer, they can feel that spring has arrived. This is the time to leave the roost and start looking for a partner and a good place to build a nest. Right, so I said that birds roost in hundreds. How do we know this? Well, we count them, of course. But how can you do that with birds flying in from all over the sky? You can't look everywhere at the same time, can you? Easy. Get more people to help you count. Look at that. Here we have a drawing that shows us how we do it. There are people all around the roof surrounding the roost. You can do this on the ground, of course, as well. So wherever the birds fly in from, there is always someone looking in that direction. Each person counts the birds coming in only one direction. Every group of people has someone keeping the time, someone looking out for birds flying in and counting them, and someone writing. This is what the writer will be doing. They have a clipboard and a paper on it marked with the time between 4 p.m. and 5 p.m. That's 4 and 5 in the evening. This is the time when birds fly in to sleep in winter. The one who is watching tells the writer every time he or she sees a bird, and the writer makes a mark on the paper. Every 5 minutes you start a fresh line, so that you will know at what time most of the birds came in to roost. Did you know that the biggest roost for white wagtails in Malta is the trees in the Great Siege Square in Valletta? Just look at this graph. BirdLife birdwatchers do a roost count every year around these trees in Valletta. Look how many white wagtails we counted over the years. And wow, in 2019 there were almost 15,000 white wagtails, and this is just in a few trees. And of course, there are sparrows as well there. Wow. Okay. So let's imagine you are doing a roost count. It's easy to know a bird when you see it in a picture, like the ones in this presentation. But how can you tell which is which when they are flying over your head? Well, first of all, you won't see the colors, you will see the shape. And you will see a silhouette, which is a black outline, a black shape. So you must learn to tell the shapes and sizes. Can you tell which is which from our 3 roosting birds? Ready? Okay. That's the sparrow, and it's short and a bit chubby and it's got short wings. That's the white wagtail. It's as long as a sparrow, but it has a longer tail and not so chubby and chunky. So this must be the starling. A starling is much bigger than the other 2, and you can tell from the size that it's a starling. Will you always see the 3 birds in one roost? No. Sometimes yes, like at Birkirkara, but at Valletta you see sparrows and white wagtails mostly. Okay, so now that you know about roosts, will you do 2 things? 1. Look for birds going into their roost in winter between 4 o'clock and 5 o'clock in the evening and just enjoy them. You are lucky if you have hundreds of sleeping birds in a roost in your town. And second, and very important, be a tree guard. If you see anyone hurting the trees or cutting the branches in winter, or worse, wanting to cut them down, Report them. Tell your local council that those trees are important for sleeping birds in winter. Tell them about roosts. Tell them that you love nature and you want to keep it safe. Good luck and well done you.